Want to know how to make your very own Mickey Pumpkin?
Okay, let's do it!
In this step-by-step tutorial, I'll show you how easy it can be, and at the end of the video, I'll share a featured blooper. Hi, my name is Kim with Kimagine DIY, where I hope to help you imagine the possibilities with DIYs and crafts. If that sounds like fun, consider subscribing. Now let's just jump into the materials that we will need for this project. Using a bunch of materials for this project. So I'm going to use my Cricut Maker, black and yellow vinyl, weeding tools, brayer and scraper for the standard grip mat, cardboard for some of the ears, glue gun, paint, dowels, Flexseal, and Mod Podge for the craft pumpkin. Let's open up Cricut Design Space. We're going to go to Upload, Upload Image, and select Browse. Find the SVG you've previously downloaded, and then select Open. Now, when we're uploading the image into Cricut, I want to select Simple, so there's a high contrast because I'm going to get rid of most of this image. Now, using your magic eraser, I'm going to select most of this image, or you can just manually remove it with the eraser tool. I suggest zooming in real close because any little misshapen spot will cut out on the Cricut. And use the preview button to help show you if you've missed anything. Now it's time to tag and title your SVG so you'll be able to find it later for future projects. And then click Upload. Select your recent uploaded image and click Insert. So I'm going to make this image larger so it's easier to work with. Then we're going to use the Offset tool to create the outline. But instead of going external, I'm actually going internal so my image doesn't get all smudged out. I'll have my original defined lines for the SVG. Then you're going to go to your layers bar and you're going to group these together so you can resize it to the size that you need. When I measured my pumpkin, it looked like 6 inches in height would fit well on the size that I have. So I didn't have to do anything with my mat, so you're just going to select Continue. I'm using up some materials that I have. This yellow vinyl is not fun, so I don't recommend it for this project, but I wanted to use what I had. I did many test cuts, and for this I actually had to use metallic setting on more because it was like 2 different layers to cut through. It's very neon, so it has like a translucent against a white. Difficult to work with, but I need to use it up. The black vinyl is a matte vinyl that I absolutely love and I'm obsessed with, and I will buy again and again. This matte vinyl is from Oracle. I have the link below. Love it. Totally use it again. Now it's time to lay down your vinyl. Normally you would use a standard grip mat, but my purple mat has been used so much, it's basically the adhesive strength of the standard grip, which is fine. Then I just used a rotary blade to cut my material down to size. When laying down your vinyl, you're going to use a brayer or a scraper to keep it nice and flat. Now when weeding this material, cut any large excess off as well to make it easier. And use your weeding tools to peel up all your parts. Now, this one was giving me a little bit of problems. So another little tip is to actually cut out your large shapes into sections like an abstract pizza pie. And then you can just work on one part at a time so you're not worried that it's gonna pick up another piece or ruin another piece peeling up. Even though I did the test cuts, I still needed to use my craft blade to help get some of those pieces out. Then it's time to cut some transfer tape. So Cut your piece, lay it down, use the scraper, and then use your weeding tools to peel it off. Then I put it right back on the wax paper because I'm going to use it soon. I love this matte vinyl because it's so easy to weed. It's very thin but durable. Then grab the transfer tape and you're just going to transfer the fluorescent yellow right onto the black, line it up, use your scraper to adhere the two, and then because I'm not going to put it on right now, I decided just to pull the whole sheet off and put it to the side until I'm ready. Now that I have my inspiration photo similarly sized to what the SVG would be for my pumpkin, I'm going to go over to the Shapes tool, grab the circle, make sure it's unlocked so I can resize it into an oval shape and rotate it to fit over the ear. I'm kind of using the inspirational photo like a stencil. Then I'll make another shape to cover the main pumpkin and select both of those, click slice to cut out the ear curve. Then I just hide the rest of the SVG images, and I'm going to cut this out just out of some scrap copy paper that I have. So it's going to be the template. Since my pumpkin is very different from the inspiration pumpkin, it had a great curve to it, which I was very surprised. But I did have to alter it afterwards. I needed to make a bigger one. So here you can see that how much larger I had to make it. And I'm gonna make these ears out of some extra cardboard I had from my Amazon deliveries. So just using the paper as a stencil, I just marked out 4 because I'm going to do 1 for the front and 1 for the back. And then you're just going to use your razor blade to cut all of them out. Now that I have the front and the backs of the ears cut out, I'm going to use dowels inside and make it so the ears can pierce the foam pumpkin to hold it in place. To cut the dowels, I actually just used some gardening snips that I had. Since the dowels have a predominant diameter, I'm going to have to make a filler piece so there's not just a big gap into it. And I thought it would actually help make it more secure as more of a solid earpiece when you move it around. So I grabbed my paper and designed like an interior layout. So I used the same stencil. Then brought it over to my cardboard and cut it out. Since the stencil is paper and now that it has slits in it, sometimes I would double check with my original cardboard piece because the paper legs can move around as you're drawing it. And on the tight corners, my craft knife was more helpful to cut through the cardboard. Now that I have my interior pieces all cut out, I really like using wood glue with cardboard. I find it adheres very well and it was just perfect because I'm using wood dowels anyway. I didn't want to use hot glue for this because if you're familiar with using hot glue, sometimes it can just snap off and I really didn't want that. Also, the only unfortunate thing about using wood glue is that you want to wait like 20 to 30 minutes after gluing something together. And they request that you clamp it, but this is cardboard and very impressionable. So just use like books or something to keep it flat to hold it down. Question of the day. How do you like to decorate for Halloween? Do you like to go scary or more family friendly? Harry Potter themed like me? Or a Disney Halloween? Let me know in the comments below. Now that my ears are all dry, you can see there's still quite a big gap on the exterior and I didn't want to see those honeycomb lines. So at first I thought maybe I should fill it with like hole putty and I'm like, that's a bit much. So I decided just to use more scrap paper and just measure the thickness of the ear, wrap it all the way around and use some glue just to cover it up. I even kind of used some excess glue within the seams just to fill any holes that you might see. Now it's time to fit the ears into the pumpkin. So I kind of lined it up by eye and then kind of forced an impression of the dowels into the pumpkin so I have a good idea of where to use my screw gun. I didn't think I would initially have to do it, but I also didn't want to file my dowels into a point. If you decide to use like the shish kebab sticks, they'll already have a point, so I'm pretty sure it can actually just go right in. When you use your screw gun, just be careful. This was the first time I was actually using a drill for foam. It actually goes away with you, so you really have to hold it in place. And I just wanted it for more of an initial hole, and then I can just, use tension and press the rest of it through. Now it's time to spray paint your ears. You can use plain black paint if you have it. I have Flexseal from a previous DIY, so I wanted to use that. Plus, I was interested in that rubbering effect to try to smooth out the cardboard. So I wanted to see it more texturized and smooth at the same time. This stuff is crazy messy. So wear a shirt you don't like, an apron, wear gloves for sure, because it is so hard to get off your hands and it sprays everywhere. So definitely do it outside because this thing is very smelly also. Once that is all dried, I'm just gonna use some craft paint to paint it orange. Hindsight, since my pumpkin actually has some white lines in it, I would have preferred to use a white as a base paint or the white Flexseal instead. Because as you can see with the orange paint, it's very transparent as it dries, and it does show lines. So if you want no lines at all, get orange spray paint. But I kind of wanted to use the craft paint as like a texture. So it will look like almost like the lines in a pumpkin. But like I said, don't like the black, would have preferred the white background, so it would have flowed better with my pumpkin. So I decided to paint 2 coats for more coverage, so you wouldn't really see those black lines, so I can match my pumpkin better. So now it looks so great together. You would actually normally glue the ears in first at this point, but I was so excited about putting the face on, and I was just waiting for my hot glue gun to get warm. Because the pumpkin is pretty bumpy, it was a little bit difficult to put the vinyl on, not because of the black mat, but because of the annoying double layered fluorescent yellow that I had. So by putting it partially on and then cut into the transfer tape to help with any curved structure, but for the smile, because it was so thin, it was much better to just do it by hand. Doesn't that smile look so good? This is one of my favorite DIYs that I've done. Now it's time to glue the ears on. So just fill the holes with some hot glue. And if you want, you can add some to the dowels too. I was just too nervous for anything to spill over and ruin the front of the ear. So after I put them both in, I noticed there was still a little bit of gap. So I kind of stuck the nose right under the ear and filled in some, and then with force held it into place where I wanted. And just for extra security, I decided to almost like caulk the back of the ears in with the hot glue. So just run a full line on the back side because it's not really going to be seen anyway. Now here's the finished product. I absolutely love it. This is originally for my mom, but I think I'm gonna steal it. My boyfriend Tyler wants to steal it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like to see more videos like this, just click the card up here. Or if you would like to see what YouTube suggests for you, click the card right here. And of course, remember to watch the blooper at the end, and I will see you guys next week. This matte black vinyl, it is so easy to weed. So